Hello, welcome to Skull RPG Podcast. My name's Dwight Skull.
My name's Jacob Skull.
And today we're going to teach you how to tell your story.
So the last stage, which is going to be the shortest one because it's more of what we're known, it's like day-to-day right now, would be the clay age.
Yeah. So if you go back, 5 episodes ago now, you'll hear us talk about golden to silver to bronze to clay, and that followed the Greek understanding of how humans were built. First, humans were made of gold, then silver, then bronze, and finally us today, are made of clay, basically. And the weakest of them, but also the ones that have survived the longest.
Yes.
So one of the things that you could talk about is, so the clay age, if you will, it would be a D20 Modern, or any kind of modern age game.
This would be like Shadowrun is like the closest to this, which then you implant magic into.
So it would be Mage the Ascension.
Yes.
Because you're playing humans that have magical abilities. If you did a D20 Modern GURPS campaign, or you're doing any kind of combat, like there's a lot of, we're not into them, but like if you were doing an RPG that was based on like World War II, you'd be firmly set in the clay age. And
you're talking the tech that we know now, or
something close to it.
Future tech with little to no magic at all.
Right. Yeah, we're talking about, so a Cyberpunk would be an example of that.
Cyberpunk's a perfect one because it has no magic like Shadowrun does.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Shadowrun's kind of like D&D for sci-fi.
Star Wars would actually fit into this as well because minus the Force, everything's tech.
Everything's tech, yeah. And so what you're looking at is you're looking at the concept of your monsters are typically people.
Or something people made.
Right. So in most of these campaigns, right, if we remove out all of the supernatural stuff out of it, for the most part, your monsters in a D20 Modern campaign is the, insert racial group here, insert country here, insert organization, terrorist organization here.
Insert corp here. Insert corp droids here. Insert corp AI here.
Yeah, whatever it is. So it's not a hard thing to think about. So if you're going to do, it's almost not even fun to call it a clay age at this point. But the difference is simply this. You don't normally have a monster manual that comes with these games because you're creating villains or things for them to fight that are in the world. So if you were going to do, let's just do a D20 Modern game as of today. So you could set it in a war-torn country like Afghanistan if you wanted, and you could play an Afghanistan conflict. You could do the same thing with the Vietnam conflict, those sorts of things. You could also go a little bit into the future and talk about how we have conflict with machines and a Terminator type of a scenario.
You could also pull it a little bit back for like a spy thriller during the Cold War using like Night's Black Agents.
100%. Well, Night's Black Agents would be a little weird because of the vampiric aspect of it.
But discounting that would be because he has rules for that without.
He has rules without the vampires, absolutely. So the thing that you can do here is just to think about as you're playing. Again, this is World Building 101. Why are we covering it? Well, because one of the first things you want to do as a GM, and we've had a conversation about this before, but you're picking your genre. Mm-hmm. Well, in some ways, you're also picking your level of age as a world builder. So is it a golden age where everybody's a god, functionally? Either that a tech god, a magic god, a whatever god. Is it a silver age where those gods have all been kind of dethroned, except for a handful that are still pocketly left?
The power of your world defines the world you build just as much as your genre.
Exactly, 100%, because it's a different conversation to have a... So we'll pick on another game. So you have like a Call of Cthulhu game.
Yes.
Call of Cthulhu is very much a clay age game.
Fighting golden age.
With trying to thwart people from bringing about the golden age horrendously back in. And there could still be some silver and bronze age monsters running through the world that these poor people have to try to fight with, and they have no ability to fight.
A TV show that has that very concept is Torchwood. It's a clay age.
Yep.
You fighting golden or silver or bronze age stuff. And yes, they have some tech that they pulled from that, but it's very highly just normal human beings fighting the unknown.
Well, same thing with like Supernatural.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Supernatural is very much like that.
You know, you have two normal dudes. There's other monster hunters with them as well, but you have two normal people that are looking into relics of the past that make no sense to the average person, fighting things that no human should have the right to be fighting.
Constantine is kind of like that, but with a little bit more power because he has knowledge to use magic. But he's very much fighting things above his weight class.
Exactly.
Through tricks and deceiving and knowledge of how that world works, however finite.
Yep. And that's kind of the issue here, is Clay Age are hitting outside of their weight class if they're fighting anything above them, because that now is introducing an element that's not normally in the world or normally they have access to.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be a really short episode, but if you're going to do a Clay Age, I don't see a problem with it at all. One of the big things to think about when you start a Clay Age is, are my monsters going to be monsters? Is it going to be a Knights Black Agents where I have the best the best spies in the world, and now they're fighting a vampire or vampires, which is a different conversation because they're having to punch outside their weight class? Or is it a bunch of spies fighting other spies from another country, which means they're fighting in their weight class?
Or is it soldiers fighting World War II?
Or is it soldiers fighting the old ones? Not necessarily those old ones, but like, dark ones and other things. That's just like a Delta Green scenario.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're stopping Cthulhu's child and child's child from arising.
Yeah.
Which is not any more powerful to Cthulhu, but he's Bronze Age.
Yeah, he's immensely powerful.
Immensely
for us.
powerful in terms of our tech.
All I know is I emptied 7 clips in him, and he didn't care. And I can't empty 7 clips in the enemy and not have him care.
And then that guy who has a magical dagger, which I don't even know how that worked, is dead.
Yes, exactly. So the point is, when you do a Clay Age, you're going to do a modern. And one of the things you want to think about in your world is, are they fighting other modern groups? Or are they fighting ancient groups that might have a lot more power or different abilities than they're used to? So with that will end our little series on this part of the world building. We're now going to pivot over to mythologies and other things if you need to do that. So we'll see you on our next episode.
Hey, thanks for listening.
And for more resources, please go to skullrpg.com.